The Scottish Government has just thrown £100,000 at asylum seekers in Glasgow who are facing eviction. So today I read a story about the Scottish Government handing over £100,000, 100k, to help asylum seekers who are facing eviction from their homes in Glasgow. And they're even saying, the Scottish Government is saying that they'll provide support until all legal options are exhausted. They're desperate to ensure that these people who've come into our country, many of whom illegally, by the way, are allowed to stay on a free ride and have somewhere to live, costing them nothing. So the BBC's reported on this, and they said, last week, Serco threatened to evict some of the unsuccessful applicants. Unsuccessful. It later announced a temporary reprieve for those at risk. The move by the Home Office contractor was widely criticised by politicians and triggered demonstrations, including a hunger strike. The plans, which would see the locks being changed on doors, have been the subject of separate legal actions by Shelter Scotland and the Govan Law Centre. See what I mean? Unsuccessful. So it's not just refugees, asylum seekers, it's unsuccessful applicants who are just living free of charge. And by the way, if you don't know what Serco is, it's a Home Office contractor that said that they're going to provide housing, or they are providing housing, for 330 people at their own expense right now, including people who have no legal right to be in the UK. Out of their own money, their own expense, Serco is paying for 330 people to just live for free in Glasgow. The company said that they're no longer willing to provide that free accommodation to the overstayers, fair enough, and that they'd be gradually changing the locks to no more than 10 people a week. So they've given them notice. They're not just booting them out on the street. They're saying, listen, you guys have got no legal right to be here. We're paying for you to be here. You've got a certain amount of days, otherwise we're going to change your locks. It all seems very reasonable to me. But the Scottish Government and the far-left politicians are doing everything they can to ensure that these people get a free ride for even longer. So they're just throwing more money at the Scottish Refugee Council to the tune of 100 grand. And the Community Secretary for Scotland, Eileen Campbell, told the BBC, while we welcome the pause in the issue of lock change notices, this is only a temporary measure, and the fact remains that destitution and homelessness are built into the current asylum system, placing hundreds of people at risk. The plight of the people threatened with eviction demands a resolute and humanitarian approach, and we cannot see people turned onto the streets because of the failure of the Home Office's asylum policy. It's true, we obviously don't want to see people on the streets, but these people have no legal right to be here. Ergo, they shouldn't be in the country at all. Not only should they not be living for free on the money of Serco in apartments that cost them nothing, they shouldn't be living on the streets either. They shouldn't be in the bloody country, and that's that. I heard somebody once call Britain Treasure Island. I think it might have been Nigel Farage, but doesn't that sum it up? Treasure Island, come on over, and not only are you going to get a council house, even if it turns out that you're not legally able to stay here, the government will pay hundreds of thousands of pounds to make sure you're not evicted. And then they'll go through all legal options possible to defend you. This is insanity. This is utter insanity. And it makes me wonder why sometimes so many English people, including myself, are so pro-union. If Scotland's this insane, then maybe there's an argument to get rid of them. Although, I don't know, maybe I still wouldn't go that far yet. I am a unionist through and through. But, coming into the UK, you get everything for free, threatened with eviction, the government's going to pay the money out for you. And at the rate at which Scotland's taking in refugees, by the way, this is just going to get worse and worse. They're going to have to be throwing more and more money at this, because it was only last year, in 2017, that Scotland met its target to provide homes for 2,000 Syrian refugees years ahead of schedule. Years! Scotland's First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, Legs 11, said, Scotland is an open and welcoming country, and today's celebration welcoming the 2,000th Syrian refugee to our country is testament to that. And they're so proud of it! They're so proud of it! The 2,000th, I can't even pronounce that, it's a difficult word, but celebrating the fact that 2,000 Syrian refugees are coming to the country, despite the fact that Eurostat, the statistical wing of the EU that Nicola Sturgeon loves so much, even they admitted that the vast majority of these people aren't even from Syria. They're migrants. They're economic migrants, and half of them are coming over. Well, maybe not half, but a large number of them are coming over and committing terrible crimes. Let's say that. I think Scotland, at this point, is hitting peak insanity. What more can you say about a country that is welcoming in people, claiming they're refugees, knowing full well that they're not? and then when these people turn out to be unsuccessful in their application for asylum, the government just hands out money to let them stay. What is that other than insanity? If you want to see more from me and the rest of the Rebel team, remember to download our app on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, and like and subscribe.